everybody! How are you? Welcome to my first ever video on my new channel, Tiff Anime Reviews. Thank you so much for checking this channel out as well, my fellow anime lover. I am very excited to get this channel started and to start my anime review journey. Though it did technically start on my main channel, Tiffany Books, Movies, and stuff. If you haven't checked that channel out, then make sure to go and check it out on there. So first and foremost, before we get into this review, I did want to tell you how this is going to work a bit. I have this giant anime list that I've compiled. I found a random anime suggestion generator, put the settings to only show animes ranked 7 and above because it aggregated from sites like My Anime List and a lot of the big anime tracking sites, and then just made a giant list based off of all of the anime that's ranked 7 and above. Why 7 and above, you may ask? Why not just go from 1? Well, first of all, I don't want to purposefully watch something that I'm not going to like, but I do feel like 7s and above have a great combination of masterpiece and trash, but fun trash that will entertain me despite it being trash. That's the goal. Though I'm pretty sure there's some on that list that will torture me because it's over 800 animes long. Yeah. So basically the way this is going to work is I'm starting my first review, Akiba Maid War. I'm very excited to get into it. And then afterwards I'm going to just hit random number generator on my list, and whichever one it lands on is the next anime that I have to watch. Let's get into the actual review. So as you know, the anime I am reviewing today is Akiba Maid War. Moi Kyun! How was my impression? This anime came out this past fall season, 2022 fall. I saw one clip of this, I think pretty early on. I knew instantly that I wanted to watch this. It looked ridiculous and crazy and amazing. And I was right. If you need an anime to give you a good pick-me-up, it's not wholesome. It's not gonna make you feel all warm and bubbly and like, oh my god, it's so cute. It's not like that. It's gory, it's violent, it's ridiculous in all of the best ways. Especially if you are very big on otaku culture, I think you get even more out of it. Now, I'm not saying I would necessarily recommend this anime to absolutely everyone. If you watch anime consistently, it's definitely one you need to check out. But I don't think necessarily if you're kind of in the beginning stages of anime that you'll necessarily like it. I could be wrong. Just in my opinion, it helps if you know a little bit about otaku culture, and I still consider myself a noob. There's a lot I haven't explored, but I do know enough about how maid cafes work. Going in ahead of time knowing how maid cafes worked and how popular they are, it made it that much more hysterical. If you don't know much about the maid cafe, you may still find it very entertaining, just maybe a little bit extra weird, but I definitely think having that knowledge helped make it even funnier for me. For those of you who don't know what Akiba Maid War is about, it is about a young girl named Nagumi whose dream it is to become a maid at a maid cafe. She ends up getting hired at the Ton Toko Ton Cafe, otherwise known as the Oinky Doink Cafe. I really wish I had the little headband pig ears because that would be fabulous right now. Ton Toko Ton, Ton Toko Ton. And in this cafe, they do very special events. Some of the normal characteristics, they may put on a little show and dance. They do moi kun a lot and try to be really cute. They draw on omelets, which is quite impressive. And just little fun stuff like that. They very much cater to you. So this is a place that Nagumi wants to join. However, Nagumi's dreams soon get shattered when she finds out the violence and the corruption that has gone on in this maid world. The stuff about maid cafes that us normal people who don't work in maid cafes do not see. It's very sad for her. After that, mayhem ensues and Nagumi is thrust into this world trying to protect her beloved Oinky Doink Cafe as she fights other maid cafes that are competing against her. And if you haven't guessed already by my description of this, I really loved this anime. It had such distinct, great personalities throughout. Every episode was memorable. It was so much fun and so ridiculous, and it was the perfect amount of ridiculous. I personally give it a Tiffany rating of 8 out of 10. And That's all I can tell you, non-spoilery peeps. The show is only 13 episodes long, so it is a pretty quick one to get through. I finished it, I think, in a weekend with Eddie, so not hard to complete. Also, it's an anime original, which is amazing. Usually, a lot of animes are adapted from different source material, so to see an anime original excel is always very, very exciting. So go check it out, go support that anime. Once you've watched it, come back here and we'll discuss everything together. Goodbye, non-spoilery people, and don't forget your Kyun! Spoilery section time. So as I mentioned, I really loved this anime. I knew it was going to be wacky from the beginning. The opening, I wanted to watch the opening every single time it came on. The slow-mo of the group walking together, each showing their personalities. You have Nagumi just going, it's quite hysterical, it's very funny, and it shows such a great contrast between the violent side of the Maid world and also the very cutesy side of the Maid world. So right from the beginning, my favorite character was Ranko. She was absolutely hilarious. The opening moment where you see her trying to be cute, but she just has this very monotone voice, it was hilarious. She's going, my coat. It made me crack up, and I loved her because you could tell she was very dedicated to being a maid. This was her life. Also, she kicked butt. She protects Nagami from the Wuv Moonbeam. I can't believe I'm saying these maid cafe names out loud. You don't realize how ridiculous they sound until you say them. Oinky Doink, Wuv Moonbeam. I love this anime. But you have Ranko protects Nagami from the Wuv Moonbeam when those bunny rabbits are coming after them. It's hilarious. There is a part that cracked me up in that because you have Ranko shoots the leader of the Wuv Moonbeam clan. Nagami is just staring, wondering what in the world is happening, and blood just keeps spurting on her every single time. It was funny. She did nothing and she ended up getting doused in blood the most. I do find it funny also in general that Nagami adjusted pretty quickly. She saw the violence and was very traumatized, but really after maybe the first episode or two, she just wants to really not have violence. But she doesn't question that this is the Maid world. She has accepted her fate. And back to Ranko, she just gave life lessons to everyone throughout. When Zoya is introduced after Ranko and her are battling and boxing it out, you just have her say to Zoya, the only one preventing you from being a maid is you. And it changes Zoya's life and she joins the Oinky Doink Cafe. And the melodrama just throughout the show was perfect. That moment I explained with Zoya was great. There's just so much. One great example and probably my favorite episode in this whole thing, which is crazy to say because every episode was fantastic, was the baseball scene. You have Nagami trying really hard to have everyone just play a fair game of baseball because the maids are going at it with each other. You have other maids get inspired by Nagami's innocence and want to also play a fair game. But it goes very awry. The coach of the opposing team ends up dying. The mascot of the opposing team ends up dying. And I just love the moment where the game's probably going to end because violence has occurred. And all of the people decide to go, they're not dead. And they prop up the manager and the mascot. And you just see them deteriorating sitting there while they play this game and give this game to Nagami a fair win. The melodrama of it is so funny because yes, it's parodying it, but it's also supposed to be this moment where the maids are united for a fair baseball game. And I loved in general just the different plot points that they parodied throughout, especially the gangster genre. The gangster genre is very dramatic and they constantly just made fun of it. For example, when you have Manami, who just got out of prison, become head of Maid Alien again, she goes to try and attack the Oinky Doink Cafe. She ends up losing. It's dramatic as Nagami decides she will not kill her, even though she killed her best friend. She must live with her guilt and learn to reform. These are plots that happen in these type of mafia gangster type films. In the sense of you maybe had the head boss who ends up being taken down. You have the people who will be like, no, I will show you mercy instead and be a better person. It is making fun of the melodrama of it. And when you're watching shows like that, you don't think about that at all. You don't think about how ridiculous the scenario is. You're just watching it and loving it. And this one is saying, look, we're gonna flip it on its head and put Maid in this situation, and you're gonna see just how ridiculous it can be. Even the backstories were making fun of this. The backstory of the panda was hilarious. The panda doesn't speak for so many episodes. Then all of a sudden, when Ranko is about to go off with this gentleman who actually loved her, that kind of hurt when he died because he actually was planning to run away with her and Ranko could have lived happily ever after. The panda finally speaks when Ranko is about to go off, and she tells her story and says, I am the one, Ranko, way back when, who killed your master. And this gentleman that you are pursuing also pursued me, but he was actually tricking me in order to take me out. And now I must live this life as a panda in order to hide myself from the people who are after me. Do not fall for him. Don't. But Ranko doesn't listen, does she? No. She decides to go after him and almost leaves. But instead, he ends up getting shot and killed by none other than the panda. Such a touching story. I will say though, I was very upset when Ranko died. I just mentioned she's my favorite character and they killed her. I was upset over that because she decided to stay with the maids. Well, she didn't really have a choice because her lover got killed. But she decides to stay with the Oinky Doink Cafe. She's trying to help Nagami in her mission to make everything peaceful. And then Ranko gets killed. By who? None other than a Wuv Wuv Moonbeam person. She was the best character. Not that the other characters weren't good. They were hilarious, but it was also unexpected. So the show did catch me off guard. I truly thought that Ranko was going to be there towards the end, especially since she didn't have a chance to run away or anything like that. I thought she was really going to survive. As for the other characters, like I said, all of them have super distinct personalities. Zoya is hilarious. You have the manager who keeps trying to run away from her problems, even though she puts her employees in this problem. So the panda was amazing. Nagami was a great protagonist. It was a great cast overall. I loved it. And now that brings us to the final episode. I really don't know how to feel about it. It is one thing that kind of brought the show down for me from a 9.5 to an 8. It just was so unexpected. And because of how it was unexpected, it fit the show really well. But I was just expecting something different. And I felt a little bit of a disappointment when I didn't get that. But the ending was also perfect for it. But I wanted a little bit more. It's a conundrum. Basically what happens is the Oinky Doink Cafe is being attacked by all of the other maid cafes in that area. Ranko is dead, one of their best killers on the team. I thought it was going to go in a completely different direction, specifically with Nagami. Nagami's been this very innocent, we should all get along type of person this whole anime. And when I saw her dressed up in her funeral maid outfit with her Oinky Doink ears, I expected her to go off the handle, especially because of the fact that she just lost Ranko. I wanted her to go ballistic. I expected her to go in and kill everyone. Or if you want to stick with the melodramatic fashion, I really thought she was just going to go in, make this one big final stand, kill the head, but then probably die. Instead, Nagami decides to have all of them become customers of the Oinky Doink Cafe and do a song and dance. It was not what I was expecting, and it was actually quite perfect. They're dancing for their life. Nagami's performing the one time she's ever performed. She gets shot during the performance, and you just see her buddies crying, go and I'm just sitting there laughing at the ridiculousness of it. They're literally crying while they're doing the glow sticks, and Nagami's singing, trying to hold on while she's been shot in the stomach. All of that was great. The slow clap that the main lion person, I forget the name of that cafe, I'm pretty sure it's a wonderful name. The slow clap that the lion does to her performance and everyone else clapping, and then the lion gets shot, all of that is perfect. I just felt the ending was a little bit abrupt immediately after that. Basically, the main head of this Maid organization shoots the lioness, and then the head gets shot by another person from a group that was already disposed of in order to get revenge. And then it cuts to present day, because the show took place in the 1990s, and you see Nagami has fulfilled her dream of being a maid at 36 years old, just like Ranko, even though now she is in a wheelchair. And they all lived happily ever after. End scene. So I was a little bit underwhelmed just by that part. I loved the song. I loved everything they did with that. It just felt a little bit abrupt. I kept expecting more. And yes, you get the nice little bit at the end with Nagami where her fans go and see her and they're telling their kids about how Nagami is their favorite maid and now it is peaceful in Akihabara because of what Nagami went through. But it also just felt a little bit short. And maybe because the episode was so good, I wanted it to keep going. Everything felt resolved though, and that's really, really nice. I'm always impressed with anime when especially they're 13 episodes and everything gets wrapped up within those 13 episodes. It's quite impressive to me because that's very hard to do. And not many live action TV shows can do that very successfully. So the ending was the only thing that brought it down a little bit for me because it wasn't as satisfying as I wanted. But overall, it was still a really, really great show and I'm very, very happy I watched it. That is pretty much all I have to say about this show. If for some reason you stayed through the spoilery section and still haven't watched it, then I just still suggest you go. It's one thing me describing it, it's another thing actually watching it. And I definitely did not describe every event that happened. It's just fantastic. Go watch it. It's not even a long watch. You'll get it over in a weekend. I don't think this is a type to get a second season at all. I don't expect it to. I think it's pretty wrapped up in its own regard. So that's very nice. This is pretty much a one-season show. Anyway, thank you all for joining me. If you do have any recommendations that you want to give, leave them in the comments. I will let you know if I already have them on my list. You never know, there may be some anime that you recommend that are below that threshold I had set for myself making the list, which was anime ranked 7 and higher. So if you do have a recommendation of one that may be ranked lower and you don't think would be on my list, then for sure recommend it. Just don't purposefully recommend me bad stuff. I know what X-Arm is, guys. I'm not watching that. Thank you all so much for joining me. I really, really appreciate it. Please make sure to like and subscribe. Go check out my other channel, Tiffany Books, Movies, and Stuff if you haven't. And stay tuned for more videos as I continue completing anime. Thanks, guys. Have a great evening, afternoon, day, whatever time of the day it is for you. And don't forget to be awesome. Let's go watch more anime. Goodbye!